You were never taught the real history of Africa. What you were given was filtered through conquerors. But Africa's true past lives on. It lives in the voices of its people. And now, it lives in podcasts. These aren't just audio shows, they are acts of digital preservation. They are a revolution in how we understand the continent. What exactly is an African Story podcast? It's not one single thing. It's a cluster. A diverse ecosystem of shows that tell African stories in different forms. Historical narratives. Folktales passed down through generations. Cultural memory and identity explored through sound. Non-fiction accounts told from African perspectives. Think of African Stories on Spotify. An archive of folktales. Or Stories Mother Told, African folktales, born from the traditions of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. These are more than just entertainment. Let's be clear, these folktales are historical sources. They are not just children's stories. They encode social norms, lineage memory, and moral philosophy. They carry migration stories and environmental knowledge. Political lessons are woven into every word. They are a living record. The creator of Stories Mother Told identifies Port Harcourt as the wellspring of her stories. Port Harcourt matters. It's a major Niger Delta city. A post-colonial urban center shaped by oil, migration, and multilingual communities. It shows that oral storytelling survives in even the most modern settings. The Journal of African History podcast proves it. Since 1960, it has been a leading source for African history. Now, it's available at the touch of a button. For centuries, African history was filtered through outsiders. Colonial administrators. Missionary archives. European travel writers. Even apartheid-era censorship. African Story podcasts are reversing that. They give Africans narrative authority. They restore oral tradition as legitimate historical memory. Before widespread literacy, African societies preserved history through griots, praise poetry, royal court historians, elders, and folktale performances. Think of song and drum language. Podcasts are a modern extension of that ancient oral system. They are mobile-friendly, accessible to diaspora audiences, and usable in classrooms. These podcasts challenge the damaging myth that Africa has no history. They prove cultural continuity. They reveal the depth of regional histories. They showcase the complexity of pre-colonial states. This podcasting boom doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's part of a digital revival. WhatsApp storytelling. YouTube folklore channels. Instagram history pages. TikTok microhistory. Even an audiobook revival of folktales. Oral tradition is adapting to digital distribution. These podcasts are used for children's education, heritage learning, and diaspora identity formation. They are an embrace of language preservation. All while serving as classroom supplements. And this is vital for African creatives using podcasting as cultural entrepreneurship. Independent production. Monetization through sponsorships. Educational partnerships. Audience building across the diaspora. These podcasts make Africa intelligible as a continent of many nations. But also, a connected cultural and historical space. Shows like Sound Africa can revive attention to overlooked people. Local intellectuals, women storytellers, laborers, medical assistants. Think of Hamilton Noki, a black South African man who worked with Surgeon Christian Barnard. His story remains a testament to a suppressed history. But there is a dark side to this. Colonial systems dismissed oral testimony as unreliable, unless confirmed by European written records. This resulted in the loss of indigenous historical authority, in distorted timelines, in the erasure of local political systems. Think back to credit and recognition. It was often denied to Africans. The example of Hamilton Noki is not an isolated case. It reflects broader inequities in who is credited in African and global history. Who owns these stories? Is one version more authentic? Is a podcast faithfully representing a tradition, or flattening it into entertainment? These are the questions we must ask. What Gets Podcast is influenced by language choice, sponsorship, and audience expectations. That means some stories are amplified, while others remain underrepresented. African Story Podcasts are the digital continuation of Africa's oral historical tradition. They are preserving folk tales. They are reclaiming erased histories. And they are giving Africans narrative authority in their own voices. It's time to listen. It's time to unlearn. And it's time to demand the full, unfiltered story of Africa. Because the stories we tell shape the world we inherit. And for too long, those stories have been told by everyone but Africans themselves. What stories do you think have been deliberately suppressed?